Hello all, Arigato here for Oni and the Forge. And here's the Forge, version 1.0. Got the fire pot there, been tested a couple of times. Works pretty good. And you can see the new duct. That's part of my Christmas present. The duct connects to the other part of my Christmas present. Fan. Well, hair dryer actually. 2 speeds, even the low speed is very much so more than I really need. I don't need the heat settings obviously, just because, well, there's going to be plenty of heat. The anvil stand and the anvil itself are definitely working pretty well. I'm going to need to do some more work. I definitely want to get the stand leveled better and get the anvil itself leveled out a little bit. Probably change the shape of the anvil because I don't have a horn and I don't really have an edge. Also, this particular material, this metal, is really soft. What? So this is version 1.0. I've done a couple of tests with it, and I already know I need a version 1.1, which is what, if my little boy will step out of its camera shot, it's for. So what I wanted to do is take this, cut a hole in the center, and fit this as a ring around the actual forge. Put it down on top, weld it into place, and use that as a rest and as for a place to have coal or charcoal, specifically in my case, or wood chip, which is what I've been using. Chips wood coming out of that. Use those chips, or use that as a resting place for material not actually actively being burned, but also as a place to rest longer pieces. Because right now, if a piece doesn't balance on its own inside of the heat, it wants to fall out, and I have to hold on to it constantly. And that's just no good, especially when it takes 10-15 minutes for a piece to heat up. So, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and hopefully by the end of this video you'll be able to see that version 1.1. So it ain't perfect by a long shot. As you can see, there are plenty of really wide gaps. Trying to weld the two metals together. This stuff is, just see it there, incredibly thin, and of course drum brake incredibly thick. So a lot of burnouts. It's kind of hard to bridge some of these gaps that I ended up cutting in. When all you have is a circular saw, that's what you use to make your cuts. But I did get, you just kind of see it right there, good about 1.5 to 2 inches of overlap. So it's actually formed a bit of a bowl shape. It's not perfect. It's not, it's not anything brilliant or anything to write home about. But it actually works. And let's grab my test pieces here. It does the job. It's going to hold that right in place, right where I need it to be. So that is just about perfect. Exactly what I needed it to do. So it's ugly and it's going to leak the ash and other stuff down where I don't really want it to dump, but that's fine for now. Version 1.2, we're changing out the aluminum foil bottom for a proper spring, not a spring, but weighted hinge, and it'll hold itself closed unless there's too much weight, at which point it'll dump. And then there'll be just a bucket down there, a little like 1 gallon bucket to hold ash dump as necessary. So, but you can see that's a really long tube, and it's about 1.5 to 2 foot long, I think. Maybe, hard to tell from this angle anyways. So it'll hold a lot of ash, and if it doesn't dump automatically, I can just dump it at the end of every session. So, or before the beginning of the next session, because that way I'll be sure it's absolutely cooled off. But yeah, this is the version 1.1, and this is eventually, well, this is my first test practice of squaring something off from rebar. I think that's 1/2 inch rebar. That's fairly square. It's got a little bit of an angle to it, but it's fairly square, unquenched, because if I squench it, it will get brittle, because all I have is water right now. Don't have enough oil just sitting around to be able to do that properly. But yeah, so practice makes perfect. With this larger dish, I can actually heat things up further back like that. It won't be down in the best part of the fire, which is going to be down right in here, but I can heat things up now so I can actually get some depth and build the better part of the fire up into here. So I think version 3 or 1.3 or 1.4 is actually going to change this cone into a better cone, but for now it looks pretty good. All right, talk to y'all later.